Hi, everybody. Hey, Chancy. Hi. Hey, y'all. Welcome in. Of course, just giving everybody a second to come in. So, welcome. Happy Sunday. What am I looking for, y'all? Some chapstick. Happy Sunday, guys. It's week 5. Whew. And this week, it's week 5. Welcome in. We're getting ready to talk about some protective styling and hair loss. Those are the topics for today. So welcome in. Let me know, you guys, if you can see me and if you can hear me both clearly. Give it a couple of more minutes and then I'll get started. Perfect. Thank you for letting me know. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Happy Sunday. And welcome to week 5 of Beyond the Chair with me, Ashlee Rene. This is going to be a discussion about protective styling and hair loss. Not necessarily that the two will go together. They're each their own topic, but typically, in some instances, they can go together. One can be a result of the other. So we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about protective styling and hair loss. So if you guys have any questions, we could use the question bubble, or you can tell me in the comments and I will notice it and address it. But this topic is going to be based on some questions that I was asked through messages, some frequently asked questions, just some things that I thought about from my own experience. I'll share some things based on this topic tonight. So I will get started very shortly. But welcome in. Again, it's week 5, and I'm excited because this is a 6-week series, and we are like 1 week away from the end of the series. So I'm excited. I'm very excited. I appreciate you guys for being with me from week 1. So here we are, week 5 of Beyond the Chair, and we are talking about protective styling and hair loss. First, I guess how do I want to start this? Let's start with protective styling. Let's do that. And I'll start by talking about a question that I got about how long you should wear protective styling. So even before getting into that, what I want to make note of is that protective styling in and of itself is any hairstyle that you do where you are putting your hair away to avoid manipulation, to avoid just manipulation would probably be the best way to describe a protective style. It's supposed to lower the frequency in which you are dealing with your hair on a daily basis. So the point of protective styling is to get it so that we can tuck our hair away, not have to deal with it, not have to touch it, not have to put any strain on it for however long, which is going to make me address the question that was asked. But I want to be clear about what protective styling is. That makes me think of, for instance, braids. Braids are a great protective style. Any type of braiding style, even ponytails, and I'm going to talk more in detail about these things, but even twist outs that maybe you don't take the twist out. Singlies twist, cornrows to the scalp, any hairstyle that puts your hair away is considered a protective style. Now, I want to address how long to keep a protective style. So for me, I would always tell my clients, do not keep a protective style over 2 months. 2 months would be my personal recommendation. Here's why. So I think that honestly, even a month, even 2 months, 2 months, longer than that to me is just really too long. A month is even a long time, because considering that we want to shampoo and condition our hair on a frequent basis, these protective styles, they kind of don't allow you to do that. There are techniques that you can use. If you get braids, for example, you can wash your scalp, you can do those things, but generally we typically stray away from shampooing and conditioning our hair when our hair is in the protective style, to give the protective style longevity. Because when you start wetting it up, or wetting your braids, washing your hair, new growth comes in, it can make it not look so new anymore. So typically we stay away from like cleaning our scalps and stuff like that. So with that is why I mostly recommend a 2 month maximum, and I would even say like a 1 month minimum, because you have to think, the hair sheds during that time. You have to get that dead hair out of there, which is typically why when you take protective styles out, there's a lot of hair that is lost during that detangling process. It's just important that we don't keep it so long that you completely just neglect your hair altogether. So the whole point is to protect your hair, give it a break, take that out, wear your hair, and your hair should be better for it, not worse. It becomes worse when, what I've seen is people keep them in way too long, whatever the style might be, braids or whatever. Usually it has an adverse effect when it's kept too long, if it's pulled too tight, and even if you have braids, even when personally, when I get braids or any type of protective style, I'm still tying my hair up at night. If it's braids, I still have a little sack that I put my braids inside of. I'm still doing the things to protect even my hair within those protective styles in the best way that I can. How long? Maximum 2 months for me. And then it also depends on the style, so that would vary. That would be like a maximum for maybe like a weave, like a sew and weave. So if you were to have a sew and weave, most of my clients know that I would give a 2 month maximum on a sew and weave, versus like a quick weave. A quick weave, I would say no more than a month, and that's a stretch as well, depending on how that quick weave. I know for me, in the way that I would install a quick weave, that would be like a 1 month maximum on that. But braids, for instance, 2 month max. If you have cornrows to the scalp, that might even be like a 2 week max, because eventually it starts to get old as your hair grows out and stuff like that. So all in all, it kind of varies depending on what kind of style you have. And I also said ponytails because typically your hair is like within the hair, so it's like tucked away as well. But even in a ponytail, or even if you get braids that are put up into a ponytail, I would not go longer than probably I won't even say 2 weeks max on that, because with the hair being pulled up for that long period of time, that can cause tension in the center of the head. So all of these things have variables, like everything. But to answer that question that I got about how long you should keep a protective style, I would say one, the protective style, it depends on the protective style. And two, at very max, on certain protective styles, 2 months max. On some, 2 weeks max. On some, 1 month max. So it just varies depending on what you get. But also listen to your hair, because typically when we get these protective styles, sometimes they can be put in such a way that is not beneficial to the hair, which just really completely makes it not a protective style. When we get, let's just say braids, for example, if you get braids, just individual braids. So depending on the braider, I think it's very important to prep the hair before going into any braids or any type of protective style, making sure that your ends are trimmed, making sure that your hair is completely full of moisture, meaning prior to shampooing it really well, making sure that your scalp is really clean, conditioning the hair itself before, deep conditioning, really treating the hair before going into the style, especially because it's going to be in that style for a period of time. You want to make sure that your hair is like full, and nourished before going into those styles. But making sure too that when you get these things done, I'll take braids for example, because that's like, whether it's being individual braids, braids to the scalp, braids to the scalp for weaving, like sew-ins and quick weaves and stuff like that, if that's the technique that's being done, please make sure that these braids are done in a way that you are feeling comfortable. And what I mean by that is that you're not having to take medication because it's pulling on your scalp that tight. Meaning that your scalp is not throbbing or burning or tingling in any type of uncomfortable way. There is such thing, I don't know if, how can I put it, as I would call it like comfortable tension. I don't do too many protective styles on my hair beyond like a twist out or whatever, but I do, sometimes I'll get braids or something to give my hair a break. But within those braids, I'm very mindful of how tight they're being done. And I call it comfortable tension. There is such thing as like comfortable tension. Like, I don't need medicine. I can sleep. I can put my head on my pillow and I'm comfortable. It's a little tight, but it's only a little tight because my scalp is doing something different. Like, if you are like me or not like me, wear your hair in a certain way. Like, I personally wear my hair natural, in its natural state, most of my time. So my scalp is not used to tension at all for the most part. I could put my hair in a puff for a certain amount of days and my scalp is like, what are you doing, girl? Because it doesn't really like a lot of tension because it's not used to a lot of tension. So when I get braids and stuff, I'm very, very, first of all, very picky about who I let into my hair, which you should be too. But I'm also mindful of whether or not I'm comfortable, because I have had experiences where things have been done to my hair in the past, which has made me very picky about who I let in my head. But I've had experiences in the past where things were just extremely too tight. And what I would say to any client, whether I was doing your hair or whoever, because everybody responds to tension very differently. Nonetheless, tension is tension. And if it's uncomfortable and if it's at the point where you can't sleep, your head is throbbing, you have to take medication, and I'm constantly stressing this because these are things that people will go through and they would just deal with it for the sake of a hairstyle. And for me, I don't believe in that. I believe in, if it's too tight, if the shit is too tight, take that shit out. I don't care how much you paid for it. Take it out. It's not worth your hair health. It's not worth your scalp health. It's just not worth it at all. I had a personal experience. I got some faux locks some time back. And I mean, it had me stiff. Like, it was so tight. I was like, at work, people would call my name. And I'd be like, can't move. And at night, I would go in the shower. I would run water on my scalp. Like, it was just like, girl, take it out. Take it out. It's not, it's not that serious. Take it out. So that's my, that's my takeaway for today with protective styles. If it's too tight, take it out. Say it with me. If it's too tight, what y'all gonna do? Take it out. We gonna take it out. Because what's not about to be taken out are my edges or any of my hair. It gotta come out. Now, there is such thing as not braids. Let's just say you get a different hairstyle. I'll tell you another personal experience. Recently, within this year, I don't know if y'all saw my other live. No, I told y'all about this in one of my other lives, but I have a little area in my hair where my hair did not respond well to a ponytail. It wasn't due to the stylist who did it, because the stylist who did it, she reminds me a lot of myself. She's very, very hair care driven. So I know it was just my hair and my scalp and just how my hair responded and reacted to it. But that's why my biggest encouragement is to listen to your hair, listen to your scalp, and really react and respond to whatever it's telling you. So I got a ponytail done, and it was a braided ponytail. Y'all probably remember it. I posted it around my birthday. But I wanted this big jumbo braid. I saw a picture of it, saw a girl got it, really liked it, wanted to recreate it. Got it done, and when I got it done, it was all good. Like, I was in the chair, I was like, oh, this feels good. Okay, fine. And I'm telling you this too, so you can understand too, that sometimes the tension might not hit you soon as you get that hairstyle, but over time, as it sets, it can start to get tighter and tighter and tighter. So I'll continue. Got this big jumbo braid. First of all, be mindful of weight. So even though, like, you have even braids, the density in which the braids are matters. Any type of extension that you add to your hair and your scalp, it's weight. It's added weight. So I got this big jumbo braid, got it at the top of my head, didn't really think it was as heavy as it was. Wore the ponytail. The tension didn't hit me until probably maybe a day into my vacation. And that, matter of fact, it was like I got it done the day before. I was fine that night. It was like, okay, it's tense because my hair's not used to being pulled up, but I'm gonna just ride it out. Let's just see what happened. Well, when I got to the destination, I was just telling Josh, like, something not right, because like my head is just starting to kind of thump. And it wasn't necessarily my head like a headache, but it was my scalp, like, kind of starting to feel very throbby in a way. So I was just like, I don't know, I probably have to take this out because it feels like it's starting to pull. So I was like, all right, let's make it to dinner, and I might be able to ride it at least till dinner. Made it to dinner, it was fine. But eventually what started happening is my scalp felt tighter and tighter and tighter. It was just to the point where I told my husband that night, I was just like, I got to take this out, because if I don't, this probably is going to take my hair out. That's how it's starting to feel. It's starting to feel burning, throbbing. The same stuff that I tell my clients all the time, those are the signs. Take it out. So when we finished dinner, I was in the car taking all of those pins out, all the hair out. And I didn't notice it until after my trip. But I had a small area of my hair that was missing. And so I'm saying all of this to say, with protective styling, the point is for you to be able to take a rest from your hair. It's supposed to not hurt. It's supposed to help your hair to grow. It's supposed to help you to give your hair a break from manipulating it every day. So you don't want hairstyles that are going to provoke any type of reaction to your scalp, to give you an adverse effect of what we're going for in the first place, which is growth and a break. So with that being said, once I noticed what was happening, and I point to that because ponytails are a big protective style nowadays in our society. We're wearing a lot of slick backs, we want them slick and they tight, and it's a lot of tension happening to people. And I had never experienced hair loss in my own personal experience until this year, but I've had clients who I've seen go elsewhere, get ponytails done, and then they're missing like a big circle in the middle of their head from the tension. So it's tension, and this kind of goes into, I think with protective styling, we'll be talking about both kind of interchangeably, protective styling as well as hair loss, because sometimes when protective styling goes wrong, it leads to hair loss. So I would help a lot of my clients who went through that, and if I would see the hair come back, but what I would term that is traction alopecia. So traction alopecia, usually we would see that happen like along people's hairlines, just from being like pulled back all the time, ponytails, braids that are too tight, anything that causes like a pulling at the scalp that results in hair loss is typically tension alopecia, unless it's done by way of like postpartum shedding. A lot of women who experience postpartum shedding, it happens along the hairline. And honestly, guys, this is like the most fragile area of the hair. Your hairline it's just the most fine part of all your scalp. So typically your edge is where that's the part that's gonna go first 9 times out of 10, and it just depends on the center of the tension. So like I stated with my own experience, the center of the tension was actually a ponytail, so it was in the center of that ponytail where it was placed. It was just too much tension for my hair. The next person probably could have gotten through with it. For me, my scalp is not used to a lot of tension, and it, like I said, that happened before a 2-day period. That happened like 24 hours. So my hair had a really bad reaction to that. But I say this also to say, be mindful of the styles that you get. My girls who get even the wigs, and you're braiding under the wigs, make sure that the braids are also comfortable. You don't need extremely tight braids that you're going to cover up with a wig anyway. A sew-in, honestly, there's a lot of tension that happens when it comes to a sew-in. Even when I would do sew-ins on my clients, I would really make sure to braid the hair in a way that wasn't extremely tight, because when you come back around, and I used to add a net on top of the braids, and then the tracks on top of the net and the braids. So that's tension on top of tension on top of tension. So you want to make sure that in every layer of tension, that it can be a gradual thing, but it also can be a comfortable thing. So I would be sure whenever I would do sew-ins, to make sure that the braids are comfortable. And braids can be comfortable and neat without being extremely tight. Braids don't have to be tight. Protective styles don't have to be tight. They don't have to be tight. Y'all, hear me when I say it don't have to be tight. If a person braids your hair and they do it to the point of tightness because they think that it's going to last you longer or it's going to make it look neater, there is a way to get your hair braided or done neatly and comfortably. You do not have to settle for something being extremely too tight. But that would be my main thing. If you are getting some type of protective style done, braids or whatever, and you feel like it's too tight, please open your mouth and talk to the stylist and let them know to kind of let up a little bit. Because regardless to what, in the style, your hair is going to grow. So new growth is going to flourish, making your roots puff up anyway. So the tighter they go, it's not going to make a difference in the longevity of the style. Just get the style. It's supposed to not last you forever. It's just supposed to be a little break from doing your own hair. So I feel like that's a good spill on protective styling. If anybody have any questions, let me know in the comments. I feel like protective styling, I feel like that kind of gives a good ground on. Let me see if I have any more DM questions about protective styling. We said how long to wear them, which is a variable. Someone asked me, do you find sewing, like a sew-in, to be a true protective style? Yeah, I actually do think a sew-in is, if done right, sew-ins can definitely be a true protective style, as well as wigs and as well as braids. If all done right, and by a person who actually cares about the health of your hair, they can be very beneficial to your hair journey. What types of protective styles with fine hair? So that's a good question. Sorry y'all. Fine hair, you have to just be extra careful. I wouldn't limit you to say that you can't get certain things, but I will say, just my girls with finer, softer hair, you just might have to, for one, just be and give me a second to think that through, because I would have my clients with fine hair. I would do sew-ins on my girls with fine hair. I would prep my clients who had fine hair, who wanted to get braids and stuff. It's really one of those things that you have to just see what works for you. With anybody, whether you have fine hair or not, I still say be mindful of the tension, because tension, it affects all of us. You know, my hair isn't fine, but I look at all, I understand fine as far as like fine, softer, thinner, grain of hair, shaft is the outer shaft is what we're speaking towards when we talk about fine. But I want y'all to kind of look at all hair like it's fine, like it's a fine fabric. It's a piece of fabric that is very fine, and it needs to be treated with care. So when it comes to, you know, any type of protective styling, I just want everybody, I think everybody should treat their hair like it's fine, and just not get anything that's just too tense on your hair. And you really won't know until you do it. Like, I didn't know a ponytail would give me that reaction until I did it. But braids, for instance, the girl who does my braids, whenever I do get them, I never have a problem with that. I'm always comfortable. I can put my hair in a ponytail right after I get the braids done. I can sleep at night. I don't have to take pills after I get it done. So, like, all of those things matter. If you find that you just uncomfortable and you crying about it and it hurts too bad, you can't function, you stiff, you turning your head like that, it's too tight. If you got, I don't even want to say the bumps, because around your edges, like I said, this is like the finest part of your hair, all around your edge, in the back as well, the nape as well. So sometimes you might find any type of tension back here will cause those little bitty tiny bumps. But if those bumps are like in extreme excess, if they're pussing up, if they're huge, if they really hurt, if your scalp is throbbing, let it go. Take the braids out. It's not worth your edges. It's just not worth your hair. It's not worth losing your hair over. Which brings me to another point. When you do, let's speak to braids. When you do get like individual braids, you gotta think, we live with gravity, right? So everything is being pulled down. So the heavier and the more hair that you get put into the braid, the heavier the braid is, the more that it's tugging and pulling at your scalp. So you want to keep that in mind as well. The bigger you go with them, the more hair that they're going to have to use. So you just want to be mindful of that. It's not to say don't get it, but just be mindful of it. And that's the less time I would probably keep those types of styles. As far as like pulling them up. So if I have some braids and I pull my hair up and back, I always recommend that around your hairline, you take those braids and you like, so if this was braids, I would take it and I would just like pull it kind of loose around my edges just to relieve some of the tension. Because the tension was really the cause of the hair loss when you get these protective styles. And then on top of that, keeping them way too long. So hey to everybody who's just joining in. We're just going over protective styling and hair loss. And one of the things with protective styling, when left in too long, so someone asked me how long is too long for a protective style, and the answer to that is just kind of a variable depending on the protective style that you have. But I'll just take braids for example. If you leave braids in too long, you can even start to see that your hair kind of build like this little white dusty ring around there. That's just like dead hair, just collection, dirt, grime, grease, all of that. That's part of a sign that is a little old and needs to come out. I would not go past 2 months with styles like braids and sew-ins and stuff like that. I wouldn't go past 2 months. Anything past that, then you get into, when you keep these things too long, let's take sew-ins for example. Sew-ins, braids, braid downs for wigs, stuff like that. And let's just say you keep this in for 3 months, 4 months. You got to think, the longer I keep this in, the more shedded hair is collecting in my hair. So when you take these styles out, you notice, like I've seen clients literally dreadlock because of not taking that style out sooner. So you can avoid that by taking it out a little sooner and not trying to stretch it, because you'd be like, girl, these braids still look good, I'm gonna just keep them in a little longer. Oh, this wig still doing good, I'm gonna just keep it on a little longer. Not really being mindful of your hair underneath. You have to continue to nourish your hair underneath. So when we talked about, we can get into shedding and stuff. So the hair sheds, like we said, on average 100 strands a day. That sounds like a lot. It's not, in hindsight, it's really not. But when you think about it, multiply all those days you keep that protective style in by 100 strands a day. It's a lot of strands that you'll see when you take this out and you detangle. It is important, y'all. When you take a protective styling out, whether it's braids, sew-ins, whatever the case might be, when you take it out, you want to detangle your hair prior to washing it. Because if you just go into washing your hair after taking a protective style out and you don't comb out that dead hair that has accumulated over all of those days that your hair has been in that style, you know what's going to happen? 9 times out of 10, your hair is going to lock up. So to prevent that from happening, my suggestion is to take your time and really detangle and get as much of that shedded dead hair out before going in. And then 2, using that method we talked about some weeks ago about conditioning the hair prior to washing it. So I would detangle it after removing the protective style. So if I just took some braids out, I would just go through my hair and carefully detangle, get as much shedded hair as I can, and then I would probably dampen my hair and put conditioner on it, and I would detangle it probably again, and then I would go into shampooing it. And even then, going into the shampoo, I would focus solely on my scalp for the most part, and then condition it, detangle it again, just to make sure that all of the dead hair is out, just to make sure that all of your hair is detangled. So that, any more questions on protective styling based on anything I just said? Talked about traction alopecia. Okay, I wrote down the word smothering of the scalp. So there is such a thing. It might not be called what I just called it, but I know the wigs are a thing. All right. Wigs are a thing now, a big thing. And That's cool. But the thing is that I want everybody to remember, if you are a wig wearer, you still have to take care of your hair underneath that wig. Especially if you're not taking your wigs off at night, you're not letting your scalp breathe. And I call it smothering because even though these wigs have like lace, the base of it is lace, there is some ventilation there. It's still not, your scalp is still not fully breathing. So if you can remove a wig, if you wear a wig and you can remove it at night, that would be my first suggestion. If you're wearing a wig and you can't remove it every night, what I would do is wear it about a week, 2 weeks max. That's a max. I had to close my eyes on that because that would be a max for me. I really want to tell y'all, like, once a week, I want y'all to take it off, clean your scalp, and like re-braid it down, put your wig back on. Also clean the wig, like get the wig clean as well. So much, like, you gotta think, like, if my hair is like encapsulated, even to have tiny holes for ventilation and stuff like that, remember that you sweat, you know, your hair is shedding, your scalp is skin, so quite frankly that's shedding too. And depending on what type of scalp you have, if it's overactive and it's very flaky and stuff like that, all of those things you have to take into consideration, which is also the whole point of this, is to encourage you guys to develop a relationship with your hair and get to know it, and get to know what does my scalp do, what does my hair do on a weekly basis, what is happening here, so that you can use that information to apply it to when you are having protective styling done, or when you are sitting in somebody's chair and you're new to this stylist, and you can explain to her your hair type and what your hair does and how your hair reacts to certain things. Don't just wait for the stylist to like tell you all the time, because yes, we know, you know, things through experience, things through seeing clients experience certain things, but nobody should know your hair like you. Okay, that is my message to you guys. So yeah, with the wigs and stuff, just please take care of your hair underneath. Don't just put the wig on and neglect what's underneath, because you don't want to get stuck in that either. And then be careful with, you know, I personally did not specialize in wigs, so I can't really go into too much detail when it comes to like application of the wigs and stuff like that. But I do know that, you know, there's like glue around your hairline and stuff like that. You just want to be mindful and careful of that as well. If you can get your wigs sewn down, and the person can do that in a way that gives you that, you know, gives you a flat effect, that would be a better option than the glue, in my opinion. But if you do opt for the glue, that is something that I would recommend, like once a week, if not every few days. If you can retack your own lace on your hairline, that would be great, because every few days or so you can take a Q-tip and clean it, you know, and ask your stylist, of course, how you would go about that, because like I said, I'm not really well versed in the application of lace front wigs. But you want to clean that. It's on your forehead, you know, we wear makeup, just all kinds of stuff. You want to just keep it clean. You know, a healthy scalp is a clean one. Healthy hair is clean hair, moisturized hair. And we don't want to use protective styling, we don't want to abuse it and not allow it to be the benefit to our hair that it can be. So whether it's braids, wigs, weaves, quick weaves, sew-ins, whatever you're wearing, be mindful of your hair underneath there, because the whole point is, one thing I used to stress to my clients, I want y'all to be able to do both. I don't want you to just get braids and have to keep getting braids because you can't get nothing else. Or I don't want you to just wear a wig and then can't wear your own hair because now you got bald spots and things and your hair is just not healthy underneath. It's not trimmed underneath. It's not like, though, you still have to take care of your hair underneath. So I know I stress that a lot, but I really, really feel very passionate about that. No matter what you're doing to your hair, as far as extensions are concerned and protective styles, please, please, please take care of your hair before going into these styles and after, and even during, if you can. Let me know if y'all have any questions about that. While I look at my notes to see. Okay. There was a question about postpartum shedding. Okay. So postpartum shedding happens usually within the first year of having the baby, and then it's a variable for every woman. We are all different. Some people it happens like kind of right away. Some people it happens like several months later after having your baby. Nonetheless, it doesn't happen to everybody. I personally never experienced it as far as my hairline is concerned, but I will experience the shedding of just my hair in general, because when I am pregnant, my hair doesn't shed pretty much at all. I literally hardly lose any hair when I am pregnant. So when I'm not and I have the baby, then all of that starts to shed. But my hair never thins out. Like, I've never had a density issue. I've never had hair loss to the extreme beyond the experience I told y'all about this up here. And just to show y'all, to be very transparent, where is she? She's in here. She's growing back. She was bald, y'all. And now she's like a good 2-3 inches now. So recovering, I'm gonna get back to postpartum shedding, but I want to make a point. When my hair was like literally shiny, skin bald, I had faith that my hair was gonna come back. I did. I kind of have a feeling, like kind of scared that it wasn't. Yeah, I had a moment, but I just had faith that it would grow back. And that's something else I want to really stress to y'all. If you are experiencing any hair loss of any kind, just be gentle with yourself about it. Be gentle with the area. Give it some love, like massage. I bought me a scalp massager. I started using my girl Ashanti's grow drops in that area. Anything that I could use to stimulate the follicles in that area, to let my scalp know, like, no, we're not lost. I'm waking you up, and you're gonna grow back. And within months, I want to say within 3 months, my hair started sprouting. I could start seeing like little hairs sprouting from my follicle, and then it started to come out. So it took some months. It's probably, like I said, since my birthday. So since March, I've been in the process of growing my hair back in that area. So just give your hair time. It takes time. I always say watching hair grow is like watching a pot of water boil. Start the water in cold, fill up a pot of water, cold water, put it on your stove, and sit there and watch it boil. It's going to take forever. It's just like hair growing. It takes a while, especially when you're watching it. But a good point of reference is to take pictures, give yourself some months in between, and take another picture and record your progress. That's something that helped me. Like, at first, if I would just look at it with my eye, it just kept looking bald. And I was just like, Lord, please, Lord, help it grow back, Lord, please. And every time I would look at it, it would just look like it wasn't doing anything. But when I took pictures a few months at a time, and take into account, hair grows a ½ inch every month on average. This is not everybody. This is on average. Hair grows a ½ inch. Half inch? Yes. Is it a quarter of an inch? Wait, y'all. ½ inch. It's a ½ inch every month. Okay? It's not really a lot at all. So if you have that, then you'll have an inch on average every couple months. Couple to a few months, you'll see an inch of growth. So keep that in mind when you're wondering like, well, how long is it gonna take my hair to grow back and all of that. Like, it's gonna take however long it's gonna take, but in the meantime, like, put your attention on giving it some love, put your attention on massaging it, put your attention on, just sending it loving energy and optimism of growth. So just be kind to yourself and be kind to your hair and be patient in your journey, in your hair growing journey, because hair, like I said, take pictures because it's growing, but if you're watching it, it might not feel like it is. But postpartum shedding, that's another thing. It just takes time, and it's different for everybody, but it just takes time. And usually when it comes back, it's very, very fine. It's very soft, like really like baby hair. It's just really soft and fine, but it takes time. It will grow back. Just takes time. Give it some love. Give it some massage. Give it some time. Like I said, you can also still take your prenatal vitamins. That helps. Anything from the inside out helps. So diet, not necessarily a diet, but your diet, making sure it's balanced, making sure you're taking in some type of fruits and vegetables and things like whole foods into your diet, drinking your water, anything that can nourish yourself from the inside, because hair grows from the inside out. This is, you want to treat this well because this is what's outside, but really the new hair that's growing out is the hair that really needs to be nourished. So anything from the inside out, anything that feeds you from the inside out will also affect your hair. Because someone asked me, what do you eat for hair growth? And I'm not the stylist that would tell you like all of the different natural things you can eat, because honestly, like I haven't researched things in that depth, like to say, all right, you should do, get you some garlic, get you some, but there are holistic ways to kind of amplify and help your hair grow probably a little faster and stimulate your growth. But I just think that allowing your body to do what it does in just the natural order of things. Vitamins, yes, Ash, biotin. That's how I was going with that. Vitamins. So my postpartum shedding girls, continuing your prenatal vitamins. Even my girls who are not, prenatal vitamins are just packed with really good stuff. So that could be an option for people, but you can also get hair, skin, and nail vitamins, which has the biotin in it. What I would say to that too, if you've had experiences with biotin comes in different doses, levels of dosages. And it affects everybody differently. So you might see biotin that comes in 10,000 mcgs, and then you might see 50 or whatever. One, you can definitely consult your doctor about that. And two, you can also have the experience and see what works for you. For some people can't take a lot of biotin. So I would say try it more in a hair, skin, and nail type of vitamin, where it's not just the biotin, but it's also other good vitamins that nourish the hair and the skin and the nails, because they're all pretty much made of the same proteins. So that's why they put those together like that. But you can definitely benefit from adding a vitamin to your diet, adding, vegetables, green leafy vegetables for sure, fruits, drinking lots of water. That's very helpful. I've even been seeing like caffeine, people making like caffeine vitamins for like hair loss, because caffeine kind of has been studied and shown to like amplify and accelerate some growth and stuff. Personally, besides grow drops and taking vitamins, and I'm not like an everyday grow drop person either, I just kind of just let my hair do what it do, take my pictures and adjust if I need to, but my hair pretty much grows as long as I'm doing the things like taking care of my hair weekly, bi-weekly, whatever my regimen or schedule is at the time. My hair pretty much grows the way it needs to. And if I do, that's the importance of developing a relationship with it, because when it's not doing something right, then you can kind of go back to the drawing board, like, okay, what am I doing or what am I not doing? What can I do more of to help this process along? So your hair will definitely let you know. But as far as like certain hair losses, like postpartum shedding, the traction, alopecia, that type of thing, typically those things can and will come back. When clients will come to me with other issues, like stuff that's happening internally with them, medically speaking, or reactions that their hair is having because of some medications that they're taking, those things I would direct you to a dermatologist for, and then come to me. But first, I would always recommend, with more deeper hair loss issues, I would tell you to seek a dermatologist. I would not try to diagnose you myself, because there's other things and underlying things that can be checked into by a medical professional first. And then from there, you can couple whatever they prescribe with whatever I would prescribe to go along with, whatever that is. Same thing goes for where I would recommend a client to go to a dermatologist is with flakiness as well, depending on the flakiness of the scalp. So there is such thing as just dry scalp. There is such thing as like product buildup that appears to be like dandruff. Little, sometimes it shows up as like just white, tiny little white. Typically that's not necessarily dandruff, but it's like product buildup. Your hair needs to be washed. But there is like flakiness, like dermatitis of the skin, and psoriasis of the skin, eczema of the scalp and the skin. Different types of medical things that can happen to the scalp, and that's when I would tell a client to go see a dermatologist, because those things need deeper treatment than what I as a stylist can do. So if you feel as though, what I would try with, it depends on your flakiness. Like if you are having flakes to the point of creating like sores in your head, I would seek a dermatologist's opinion on that. But if you just have like dry, itchy scalp, for instance, I would recommend that you try a dry, itchy scalp shampoo that's formulated for flakiness. And from there, whenever you would use a dry, itchy scalp type of shampoo, tea tree shampoo, stuff like that, something with any type of mint to it, peppermint to it, stuff like that, I always recommend that you use that shampoo, but I would couple that shampoo with a moisturizing shampoo after. So I would use whatever you want to use for like the dry, itchy scalp, and then I would go behind that. After I rinse that out, I would go behind that and use some type of hydration shampoo or some type of moisturizing shampoo. And that is just to help to put some moisture back, because sometimes those dry, itchy scalp shampoos can be very stripping to the hair, so it can take away some of your moisture. So it's fine to use them to treat the scalp. I would definitely focus them solely on the scalp. And from there, rinse that out. Make sure you got everything. Inspect the scalp again. Whenever you're washing your own hair, have a mirror handy and make sure that you're catching everything, because sometimes you can have product buildup. You could have, some flakiness in the back. Sometimes it's so easy when we're shampooing our own hair. We're so focused like in the top area, we really forget about the back. So make sure you have like a mirror to kind of just check your scalp in the back as well, because sometimes the back is very neglected, and that's where it's dry. That's where it starts to break off in the nape area and stuff like that. So we want to make sure that we're covering all areas. So if you do have a dry, itchy scalp and you do want to try some type of dry, itchy shampoo, just follow it up with a moisturizing shampoo. Let me know if y'all have any questions so far about protective styling or hair loss or dry, itchy scalp. I got a question about what causes and what helps shedding. So shedding, so many things can cause shedding. Hold on, I got a question. How often would you suggest to straighten your natural hair? Oh, good question. So how I would put it to my clients who would ask me that, what type of natural do you want to be? For me, I'll use myself as an example. I prefer to wear my hair in a twist out like this most of my time. So I straighten my hair when I need a trim, which is every 3 months I get my trim. So I straighten my hair then, and I'm satisfied with that. And then there's your naturals who kind of want to do a half and half situation. So if that's the case, I would say straighten it once a month within those 3 months of getting it trimmed. The more you straighten, I put it to you like this: the more you straighten, the more you run I don't want to call it a risk, but the more you run the chance of disturbing your curl pattern. Anytime you're applying heat excessively, and then the more excessive you are with it, you start to lose some curl. Just naturally happens. Like your hair will start to experience some heat damage. Okay. But let's just say you are a person who just, like, you don't really necessarily care to wear your hair natural, but you like it in its natural state so that you're not chemically processing your hair, but you would prefer to wear it straight. Those naturals, you can get it straightened every 2 weeks. If you don't really care about wearing it in its natural state, but you like not having a relaxer, then you can get it straightened as much as you want, because you're not really worried about the curl pattern. For me, I don't want to lose my texture, so I don't straighten my hair as often. I hope that answers your question. So I don't want to say it's like a should or a shouldn't do, but it's just a where do you want to be in your natural hair journey. If you want to be mostly natural, then I would say straighten less. If you're not really worried about that and you just want to be natural to not be chemically processed, then straighten as often as you want. But even in saying straighten as much as you want, I would still put that on like a every 2 week basis. I still wouldn't, even if your hair is relaxed, even if you wear it straight most of the time, you could get it done once a week. Make sure that you're conditioning it properly, having it shampooed properly and stuff like that. But a week, every 2 weeks, something like that. After getting a protective style, how long should you wait to get another one? Good question. So I always tell my girls, give yourself at least 2 weeks. Like, and I'm saying at the least 2 weeks. What I would say on top of that is give yourself a month off. Like, get the protective style, take it out, wear your hair for about a month. But if you're a person who's not acclimated to really wearing your hairs, and I had some clients that were like that, they mostly wore protective styles. But I would really encourage them to at least give their hair at least a 2 week break in between. Because you want to give your scalp a break as well. You want to give your hair a break, your scalp a break. You want to let everything breathe, let everything just kind of be free for a little while. Just give your hair that break from the tension and from the stress of the protective style. And also experience the benefit that the protective style gave you. The growth, the break from your hair. So now you had a break for a little while, so now you should be able to wear it, for a little while. So at the very least 2 weeks, but really the goal, a month, I would say. At least take a month break before you get another protective style. Let me know. Y'all got more questions on that? Oh, I wanted to tell y'all this when it came to twist outs, because this is something that I did not say. This not have nothing to do with protective style or nothing like that, but make sure that before you separate your twist with your twist out, make sure your hair is 100% dry. So I think that is one of the things where people kind of go wrong and they feel like they failed on their twist outs because it's not 100% dry. So the thing is, with twist outs, you got to think your hair is being coiled on itself. So it's going to take a little minute to dry. And also, depending on the texture of your hair and how dense it is, it could take even longer to dry. So that was one of my recommendations in one of our past discussions, to kind of just jumpstart that drying session. Once you do your twist out, sit under the dryer for about 15 to 30 minutes just to kind of jumpstart that drying process. And then you can air dry the rest of the way. Or you can even sit under the dryer for about 2 hours and let it kind of fully dry. But I always, whenever I twist my hair out, typically I'm doing it on a day where I'm not going anywhere the next day. Because I'll leave my twist in I'll wear my twist. I like my twist too. I just wear them out and I just let my hair thoroughly dry before doing it. Because if you separate them and they're damp, you will be frizzy. And then you will feel like your twist out didn't come out right. How often would you suggest a straight? Oh, no, that wasn't. Why that came up as a new question? How often would you suggest a straighten your net dry? Okay, I answered that already. Yeah, I wanted to say that about a twist out. Make sure your hair is 100% dry. Twist outs, ride sets, any type of set from wet to dry, make sure it's completely dry before you go into separating it. How to preserve. Okay, so someone asked me how I preserve my hair for the gym. So when I go to the gym, I twist. Well, I retwist my hair at night. So typically I'm going to the gym with my retwist from the night. What I found, I've done it both ways. I've gone to the gym like this with my fro. What happens is it gets in the way and it gets sweaty and it gets frizzy, and I don't like that. So I go with my hair in its twisted state, and I put a headband on to keep it kind of off my face and off my forehead. And then when I leave the gym, I shower, and then from there I take my twist out and it's like this again. So I would recommend going to the gym. If you wear twist outs, I would recommend going to the gym with your twist. Can you please record a video of how you do your twist out and a video of how you wrap your hair at night with your twist out? Okay. I'll definitely, in the meantime, just so you could kind of see, I will repost to my stories when we get off this live a video that I recorded last year that it's still relevant. My hair is just a little shorter, but I do the exact technique and I'm using pretty much the same products. But I will put it in my schedule to get y'all an updated video. The other day, I went live showing y'all retwisting my hair at night, and Instagram was tripping and deleted my live. So, yeah, I was trying to show y'all in the moment process of me retwisting my hair at night. So I'll do that one of these days too. I'm actually going to wash my hair Tuesday, but I don't want to say I'm going to make a video this week, but maybe I might jump on live or something and just save it to my page. When you retwist at night, do you put any oil or product, or do you retwist it dry? So I retwist it dry. I don't typically put any product. So that doesn't work for me. I have tried that before. I've tried to put twisting butter on my hair and like retwist it. That typically leads to product buildup on my hair and like frizz. And I think it's just every product has water in it. So I get the most out of my product being in my hair when it's wet and it's mostly acceptant to the product. So once my hair is like this and it's dry and my cuticle is pretty like smooth and relaxed, putting product, it just sits on top of my hair. So it never benefited me, but I've heard people who do it and it works for them. So if it works for you, definitely by all means use product at night. The most that I have tried, Sheen, I have tried like a spray mist oil. Like if I went really extreme, didn't wash my hair, let's just say it's over 2 weeks for whatever reason, and I'm twisting my hair, I have done it where I spray a little oil on my hand and I kind of just lubricate my hands and twist. But typically when I'm retwisting, I can literally still feel all of the oils and the products that I twisted my hair with still in my hair and on my hair because it's on my hands. So I don't usually need any product because by 2 weeks, I need to wash my hair anyway. That's when it's getting dry. I need to just start over from fresh. So I don't retwist with anything. The thing that might do as far as adding any extra product during the week, I might spray some sheen, like a sheen mist, or my oil mist on my twist out, just like this, and that kind of gives me a little oil boost, and so that's sitting on my hair, so that kind of hydrates it in a way. um, Again, but other than that, I do not put any more creams or anything else on my hair until I wash it all over again and just start from scratch. How long does your twist out last? So typically my twist out lasts 2 weeks. So I washed my hair last Tuesday. I'm going to wash it this coming Tuesday, and that'll be my 2 weeks. So this is like about, I don't know, I can't count from Tuesday to today. No, I twisted it Tuesday. I took it out Thursday. Last week, I separated and took my hair out Thursday. So 2 days after I twisted it. So from last Thursday to today is this amount of days of twist outs. And by retwisting my hair at night, my hair still is defined. It's still, it still looks good, like a fresh twist out. But I really accredit it to retwisting my hair at night. Any more questions? Let me see. What causes and helps shedding? I wanted to get back to that. What causes and helps shedding? So moisture helps shedding. Usually what causes it, so many things can cause it. Needing a trim could cause it. Needing protein can cause it. Medication, a reaction can cause it. A lot of things can cause shedding, but the thing is too, hair is supposed to shed every day. So if your hair is shedding every day, that is normal. That is okay. Now if your hair is coming out in like handfuls and globs every day, that's a problem that we need to figure it out. But if your hair is shedding every day, that is not a problem at all. That is normal. Like I said, on average, hair sheds 100 strands a day, which is, that sounds like a lot, but that's normal. What helps it, making sure that your ends are trimmed on a routinely basis. So my recommendation is every 3 to 4. 4 is kind of stretching it, but every 3 months. At least check them every 3 months. If they don't need to be trimmed, then you can stretch to that 4th month. But I would definitely say making sure that your ends are trimmed is what helps with shedding. Making sure that your hair has proper moisture balance, making sure that you deep condition it weekly, shampooing it, keeping up with your weekly washing, cleanse and condition regimen. That helps with shedding. I also want to add with shedding, so if we are, let's just say, detangling our hair before we wash it, in my last, I want to say week, we're in 5, I want to say week 3 when we talked about cleansing and conditioning, I discussed and shared my pre-cleansing technique where I dampen my hair, put conditioner on it from this state, and I detangle my hair prior to cleansing it. So in that process, you can expect a lot of shedded hair because my hair is going from this to being combed out after 2 weeks. So I'm going to have 2 weeks worth of shedding going on. Once you wash your hair and you condition it, that's another, that's going to be another area of shedding. Some shedding is going to happen during the comb out of the conditioning process. What should happen is by the time you wash your conditioner out and you're going into your styling, when you detangle in that part of the process, you should notice a significant decrease in shedding. So by the time you get to styling, after it's remoisturized from conditioning, once it's detangled prior to cleansing, you should definitely notice by the time you get to your twisting or your ride setting or your wash and go, whatever style you're doing, by the time you get there, you should see a drastic drop in the amount of hair that is shedding. Now, if you continue to see, like I said, globs, handfuls of hair coming out, then that's when we need to just figure something is going on with that. Maybe you need some protein, maybe something's going on internally, like we need to go a little deeper with that. But typically shedding is normal. Don't be afraid of it. It's okay. Also too, as long as it's shedding in full strands and not necessarily in little broken pieces. Broken pieces is an indicator of breakage. Full strands is natural, normal shedding, unless coming out in globs, like I said. But other than that, shedding is normal and natural. Any more questions, y'all? I think this was good. Week 5, protective styling and hair loss. Like I said, the more complicated conditions of hair loss, seek a dermatologist. Please, please, please. Any suggestions on how to maintain your hair after having a baby to help prevent too much hair loss? Should I do a protective style or avoid it due to the postpartum hair loss? So, it's a good question, Sheena. I gotta look at it again. Let's see, any suggestions on how to maintain your hair after baby? So, I would... Because I know it's tough, like, having a new baby and stuff, so to kind of keep going with your weekly or bi-weekly regimen. But that would be, I know what you meant. That would be my first suggestion, to try to allow your hair and your scalp to just rest and breathe, because it is going to be experiencing that postpartum period. So, you know, some people don't even experience it at all. Some people do experience postpartum shedding. And that's normal after having a baby. I would give it some time and space to do its thing before putting it away into something. Unless it's something very gentle, like your twist outs. Like, Sheen, you could wear your twist outs. You could, you know, wear your twist, and you could really do like a mini twist out where you can wear your twist in different styles and stuff. And then that way you can keep that for about 2 to 3 weeks and treat it like a protective style. 2 to 3 weeks, even a month maybe. But it's your hair. You're not adding any synthetic hair to it. You're not adding any weight to it. It's yours. So it'll be lighter in weight, and it'll be versatile in style. So that would be my first. And then you can still get to your scalp. You can still, you know, oil it if you need to, or, you know, and then it's a style that you can redo yourself. So when it is getting a little old, you could take those twists out, wash those spot, shampoo those and condition those, and retwist it. That would probably be the most protective style that I would tell you, because I wouldn't go get anything that's heavy on tension, especially with all of the shedding that's happening. I wouldn't, and this is not for you, but for anybody, I wouldn't do any coloring. I had that experience with my first baby. I called myself getting color after I had her. Thought because my hair was natural and it's all strong and stuff, it could handle it. It could not, especially because of the postpartum shedding. So I would definitely recommend being very light with it and being very gentle with it, just like you should be with your whole postpartum process. Be gentle with yourself, especially your hair. So if you could just rock your twist outs and just kind of, like I said, do some mini twists and make it into a hairstyle, do that. By all means, do that. Everyone, please watch all of the series that have been so helpful and informative. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, Sheena, that would be my top recommendation, just to let it rest. And like I said, if you need a break, just rock your twist out, or even do some, you know, light braids to your scalp with your own hair, or do your little slick back puff in the back, something very light that won't pull too much on your hair. Yeah, I hope that helps. But yes, guys, this is week 5. Weeks 4, 3, 2, and 1 are posted on my page. We have 1 more week left. Week 6 is coming soon, next Sunday, and week 6 is just gonna kind of wrap this whole thing up. we'll just kind of talk. I'm gonna give y'all some tips on what to look for when you're looking for a hairstylist, some qualities and traits to look for in your stylist. What else is week 6 about? Yes, kind of spin off of this, we'll talk about growing tips, and we kind of talked about that now, but maybe we could just revisit that. And just to wrap it up and give you guys some tips on how to manage your hair beyond the chair. Whether you have a hairstylist or not, that's what this is all about. Whether you have a hairstylist or not, I just want every woman, every man, anybody with hair, I want you guys to feel empowered to be able to do your own hair, at least to do something with it, because things like the pandemic happens and you can't go sit in somebody's chair and get your hair done. I want you to have the tools and the information. I want you to develop that relationship with your own hair. Get to know it. It's yours, and it's an extension of you. So it's part of that self-care that I talk about and I encourage so much because I feel so passionate about that. And I just want everybody to feel empowered and self-sufficient, man. Whether you go have the luxury of having your hair done, that's great. And having a stylist, that's great. But I want you to know how to do something with your hair because it's yours. And then that stems into your children's hair and like me, my husband's hair. I shared on my stories the other day. I'm in the process of teaching my husband how to retwist his hair at night because he likes to wear his mohawk in a twist out now. So I just want everybody to be encouraged and be empowered and feel good about their hair and embrace it. So that's what this series is about. I appreciate you guys for watching. I appreciate y'all for tuning in week after week. And next week is our last week, but it won't be the last time that we will have these discussions. This is just the beginning. And I'm so happy that you guys tuned in. I'm happy that you all are here. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for your questions. And I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. And I will see y'all next Sunday.